what AG said yesterday when he was talking about Broderick and Branch. He was like, the only way you're going to find out if these guys can play or not is you put their ass in there and you see if they can play or not. So I think that's exactly what they were doing, Broder. And and Heavy's again alluded to it. I know Aaron Glenn went up there and said, yeah, Broderick Martin, he's not running with the ones much, but do you think they're just kind of keeping him like a little low-end secret from the national media right now? They're trying to keep him under the covers, Paul?
I think so, and I think also internally in that locker room, they're not coming right out and saying any of the rookies have starting jobs locked up.
Right.
Like, they haven't even said that about Gibbs, and maybe he's the one where they haven't not said it much, but they're not saying Laporta's the number one, Jack Campbell's the number one, Broderick Martin's in there. I think this coaching staff made up of players knows we're not going to crown a rookie, before week 2 of training camp. Like, let's get them out there. Let's welcome them to the NFL. It's actually been really great watching these rookies, and especially some of the undrafted rookies. They're, they got an uphill battle to make the roster, but there's some of those guys that are really showing out.
What about Jack Campbell? Because how has he been looking? I know his responsibilities are only going to increase because that's a guy I'm sure Dan, Brad, everybody else feels that in the future can wear that green dot, can be calling plays defensively. What's his progression been like? How's he look now with pads? Because that's a player I was most excited for to get pads on.
Yeah, and how did he look in pads? I mean, you could tell how much of a beast he is.
Yeah, big boy, huge dude. By the way,
he's as tall as me, so he's 6'5". Picture me with 40 more pounds. Like, he's 6'5", 245, 250. It's bizarre. He looks good out there. He really hasn't done anything that has blown me away or anything to like truly write about this play or this amazing practice, but you can see him out there just absolutely grinding through the entire practice. He almost looks like one of those guys who's just he's constantly thinking. Like, I think you guys have referenced whatever the movie is where it's the different, things, that meme with things popping out of the guy's head. He's just always thinking. His head's always on a swivel. And he's looked fine. He had a couple good plays in coverage yesterday. There was one time there were 2 plays where the running back started on a run sort of in between the tackles and bounced it outside. Jack got caught in a little bit and let the running back get it to the outside. So there's some little things that he can improve on, but I think he's going to be just fine.
Absolutely. That is very, very encouraging. So I have a bit of I wouldn't say it's a hot take, but I think that out of all the secondary players that Brian Branch will ultimately have the best career. I think he's the one that's most likely to make like multiple All-Pros, Pro Bowlers, and maybe be a Hall of Famer. I know that's a bit of a reach, but still. What have you seen out of him during your time at training camp?
Hey, Lucas said Sam Laporta was a Hall of Famer.
Hey, Matt Broder, I'll just say this. The amount of Hall of Famers we have on this team,
I know.
I think a Super Bowl is coming very soon.
It has to be,
there
right?
There are a lot of Hall of Famers on this team.
When was our last playoff win?
Yeah, we don't got to talk about that.
Let's get there first.
Before Laporta was born, probably.
It definitely was.
Branch has that potential, though. like all that being said, Branch could be that guy. He's one, and you guys were just talking before I came on about how he looks on the field versus his 40 time and his, the measurables off the field. And he's one that's he's such a smart, savvy football player. He always seems to be in the right position. Like yesterday, in camp, he's looked great in coverage, like better than I expected. I thought of him as more of just a nickel safety, maybe a little slower and the one to cover just the tight ends. But no. He's looked good in coverage. Yesterday, he was blitzing like a madman, and he looked really great doing it. There was one play where he was blitzing at Goff's blind side, and actually it might not have even been a blitz. He just kind of found his way into the backfield and managed to get his hand up and knock the ball down at the line of scrimmage. So I think that what he can bring to so many different areas of this defense, it almost feels like Aaron Glenn and Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have built a defense, and maybe we'll start with just saying the secondary that's almost positionless, like positionless basketball. Almost all of them can play any of the, we'll call it 5 secondary positions.
Yeah.
Even Cam Sutton, who we just talked about as the lockdown cornerback, he can play some nickel, he can play safety if he's asked. Brian Branch can do all of that well.